Hey teens, it's Lombardo in a hat. Time to give you some notes. Let's jump right into it. We're going to do some drama this time, and we're going to give you a whole bunch. So let's go get these really, really fast. We're going to try to not spend more than 30 seconds on each one. Let's start. First one is author's perspective. Okay, the author's perspective are the unique combinations of ideas, values, feelings, and beliefs that influences the way a writer kind of approaches or looks at a topic. It is the actual emotions that a writer will write towards. So a lot of times an author will have a particular unique look at certain things. Another example later in the year when we get to some more drama will be an example like Anne Frank. Anne Frank, of course, looks at the world in a particular way because of her religion and her, place in a persecuted world. Okay. The next one, of course, is a cast of characters. Every play has a cast of characters. You've seen them all. It's the black revolving screens that appear at the end of pretty much every major motion picture. It's usually just a list of all the characters in a play. In a play, in this case, it's going to be in order of appearance. Usually in a movie, they list them in order of importance. Next, we have comedy. Comedy has a slightly different definition than we usually use. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's funny, but it can be funny, of course. It's a dramatic work with a light, humorous tone, and it usually has a happy ending. A comedy is defined by the kind of ending that it has, and of course, happy endings make comedy. It's the way we look at things, of course. Next, we have dialogue. Dialogue is a written conversation between two or more characters. We see it in typical writing, we see it in novels, and it's primarily the mode that characters will communicate in a piece of drama. Speaking of which, drama is your next term. Drama is a form of literature meant to be performed by actors in front of an audience. Okay. Next, flashback. A flashback is a commonly used device in movies. It's used to basically interject a scene that takes the story back in time from wherever we happen to be. And sometimes we'll start in present day and go back. Sometimes we realize we were in a flashback the entire time. And just any way that authors and directors of movies will take us back in time. So there's lots and lots of great examples of that. Our story we're going to read, called The Hitchhiker, begins at the end of the story and then goes back to the beginning and then tells us what happens to lead them to that point. Next is monologue. It's just like dialogue, except there's only one person talking, mono, right? It's a long speech made by one person in a piece of drama. Usually it's not interrupted, and sometimes it takes, a while for them to say. It's usually that big moment in a story or a play where they finally get a moment to say something. Next, the kind of drama we're going to read is called a radio play. It's drama that is specifically written to be broadcast over the radio. It used to be rather popular, and it's actually gained a little bit more popularity now that we have podcasts and that kind of media available nowadays. But yeah, it's plays with all kinds of fun things going on. It's sound effects and voiceovers and people playing different characters, and they would originally broadcast them live over the radio. And yeah, it was a very popular thing to do. Next, there's stage directions. Stage directions are the instructions to the actors, director, and stage crew. A lot of times these will appear in parentheses after an actor's lines. That'll tell them how to say something, or it'll give directions to the stage crew to bring down the curtain or turn off the lights. And sometimes it even gives directions about what to do with stage props and how to build sets for directors. And finally, the other half of the comedy tragedy situation. So we have tragedy. Tragedy is a dramatic work that presents the downfall of a dignified character. It's the opposite of a comedy. It ends sad. So even though the story could be actually very funny all the way through, but then end horribly, we can still consider it a tragedy. Yeah. Anyway, we made it through rather quickly. I think it's record time. Who knew? Anyway, this is Lombardo, and we'll see you on the flip side. Good luck.